Let's take it to our panelists this evening. Joining me is Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS officer, Avinash Kalla, senior journalist, Aishwarya Mahadev, Congress spokesperson, Syed Zafar Islam, Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson. Mr. Islam, let me come to you first. Interesting because in just the last 3 months, 15 times there have been ED raids on Congress leaders where Rajasthan is concerned. 9 of the closest aides of Ashok Gehlot, now including his son, have been raided by the ED in the past. The Congress, very clear, elections less than a month away, and the BJP is running scared, therefore trying to misuse agencies.
See, let Congress speak whatever they want to speak. It is nothing to do with BJP or the government. It is an independent agency they are pursuing a case based on the evidence they have such leads, and it is an open and shut case. Everyone knows what had happened. Ask anyone on the street in Rajasthan and they will know that, they will tell you that there were paper leaks not once, many times, in fact 19 times. And we made noise. We asked them many times to conduct inquiries, do investigation, but he never did it. He initially tried to cover the entire episode of the paper leak. But if there is something which ED has the evidence, it is their responsibility to pursue those cases, and they are pursuing this case. It is nothing to do with the election. It has nothing to do with any particular party. Anybody who has been involved in corruption is being, and the leads or the evidence which the agencies have, they will pursue those cases independent of which party they belong, which government they belong, which political party they have affiliation with. It is the crime which is being investigated, and this is being investigated by the agency without any direction from any quarter. Forget about our government. But so it is very unfair to make this kind of statement by Congress party of making this kind of allegation.
But Mr. Islam, you know,
let the agency do its work. See the conviction rate they have in all the PMLA case. See all the PMLA case, 93% is the conviction rate. And when you say that the ED is targeting political parties or politicians, you have to see how many politicians have been targeted. The number of people ED has investigated, only 3% belongs to any political party. So only 3% of them are politicians. Rest of them are other people who have done crimes and being investigated by the agency. So this kind of a statement only is to highlight or cover up their misdeeds, but it is our government is absolutely clear that there is a zero tolerance on corruption. Agencies are independent.
You gave out some figures. You gave out some.
And
Mr. Islam, you gave out some figures there. Let me also now come back with, if you allow me. Now, you talked about conviction under PMLA. Well, only 23 convictions under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act have been secured as of now. Let's look at the cases under PMLA, though the cases have risen exponentially, sir. From 2009 in 2013, 2014 to 981 in 21 to 1,180 in 22. So the rise has been exponential. However, only 23 convictions, Mr. Islam. So the figures that you were giving are wrong.
See, I am talking about last 9 years. Under PMLA, 54 cases have been registered. 31 investigations.
No, sir, last 9 years, no. The data that I have been done is which has been released by your government itself. No. The data says very clearly that.
Yes, I am talking about
Go ahead.
See the data which has been put in the parliament.
Yes.
So 31 PMLA case which resulted in the conviction of 54 accused in 29 cases, where the investigation have been completed and conviction.
No, fair enough, but that's a micro figure.
You have to wait.
But Syed Zafar Islam, that's a micro figure.
So we have to. All I'm trying to tell you, Preeti ji, that you have to wait for the investigation to be completed, because It is not the government is doing anything. It is the agency.
100%,
it is their responsibility. They are
100% we have to wait for investigation to be completed. But I'm just giving you, you gave a micro figure.
And let
allow me, sir. Allow me, I'll come back to you. You gave a micro figure. Let me give you the macro figure.
Just
from
10
that.
seconds, 10 more seconds.
Okay, make your point.
All I'm trying to tell you that there are many people in opposition parties who are clean. They are not indulging in any kind of corruption. They have not been approached by any of the agencies. So it's not that the only handful of people from the opposition parties represent the entire opposition.
All right, so I want to come back and I want to just extrapolate.
Crime, so this crime.
Right, but Syed Zafar Islam, just want to extrapolate the figure that you also quoted. You quoted a micro figure. Let me quote a bigger figure. 2002 is when the PMLA law came in. Since 2002, there have only been 23 convictions. Having said that, in the year 2013, 2014, there were 209 cases under PMLA that were registered. Now that rose to 981 in 2020-21, which rose now to 1,180 in 21-22. Similarly, in the case of CBI investigations, 2004-14, of the 72 political leaders investigated by the CBI, only 43 were from the opposition at that time. Now the same figure, sir, has risen to 95%. Therefore, quoting these figures, the Congress and opposition has cried vendetta.
See, Preeti ji, first of all, you have to understand, number has no relevance. Number in what context I said, where the investigation has been completed and the judgment has been pronounced. It is not our duty as a government or a political party. The judgment has to be pronounced by the court. If they have any problem, they should prove their innocence in the court. Instead of making this kind of a statement, because as I understand and everyone understands that no agencies will pursue any case unless there is some evidence, unless there is some leads. If there is some lead, they will pursue that cause. If you are innocent, you must prove your innocence in the court of law.
No, interesting. Okay, I get the point that you're saying, prove in the court of law, but just in figures, we gave you the figures of the CBI. Let me give you the figures where ED investigations are concerned. The proportion of opposition leaders from the total number of politicians investigated rose from 54% in 2014. 54% of all ED cases where politicians were concerned came from the opposition. That figure has now risen to 95% where the CBI is concerned. But these are figures, and you're right, they need to be proven in a court by the defendants. But Aishwarya Mahadev, I want to bring you in. You might want to take the crutch of these figures and cry political vendetta, but let's see what's happening in Rajasthan. There are two separate stories, Aishwarya Mahadev. One story, of course, the investigation where the son of the sitting chief minister is concerned. On the other hand, where it comes down to the paper leaks, where your party leadership, your president of the Rajasthan Pradesh Committee Congress, Mr. Dotasara, is being investigated in the paper leaks case. Your very own Sachin Pilot demanded, when he was, when he went on his own yatra, saying that he's not going to rest till the perpetrators of the paper leaks are brought to justice and the government needs to take immediate action. You should be welcoming this then.
Good evening, Preeti. I think first and foremost, Mr. Sachin Pilot in his press conference today has highlighted two very important things. One, that the case against Mr. Gehlot's son is a matter over 12 to 15 years old, which has been pulled up right now. So I don't understand if it's due diligence or malfeasance at the time of elections, one. And with the issue of the paper leak, let's be very clear. If the BJP or the agencies even had a whiff of actual wrongdoing whatsoever, as Mr. Pilot also cleared out, there would be some heads rolling. There would be actual decisive action. And because of the fact that they found nothing, and also give Mr. Pilot the benefit of the doubt, where he decided to wait to see if the agencies would find anything of any wrongdoing, whether it's your own government or elsewhere, we found that there's nothing. But Preeti, moving on from that, there are two very important things I want to point out, because obviously the BJP spokesperson has gone on to tell me that in 9 years, only 31 cases have been decided, but that is in comparison, 31 decisive cases in comparison to the thousands of people summoned and harassed and detained shows you very clearly that these agencies are not acting on due diligence. Because if you look at the number of quashings in court, if you look at the number of reprimands...
Aishwarya Mahadev, what has the Rajasthan government done for paper leaks? Please tell me, in terms of investigation. And when central agencies step in, you call it vendetta. That's what many would suggest.
1 second. Central agencies have been stepping in since when? Have they found any decisive proof? From when has the CBI and the ED decided to act?
So nobody was responsible for the paper leaks?
Very simple.
A matter raised by your very own?
Preeti, there was an internal probe. Did they or did they not hand it to the state administration? Did they not ask for an internal investigation on this? Yes, they did. When the national agencies wanted to take over, did Mr. Gehlot say no? No, he did not. Did they basically allow the ED, CBI come in and take 15 times, more than 15 times, right? You've seen these agencies be active in the state. Have they or have they not acted? They have. Have they found any proof? Absolutely not. On the eve of elections, they're using this as a manner of harassment. But Preeti, one tiny point before you move on, and I am accused of hogging all the time on your debate. Let me tell you this. When they talk about this is not politically motivated, there was a huge case against Mr. Narayan Rane. There was a huge case against Mr. Himanta Biswa. There were huge cases against Ajit Pawar, the current sitting Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Praful Patel.
The washing machine analogy has been often used by the opposition. And, Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, I want to open up the panel, but I'll come back because there have been charges been made from your very own, on your very own. Of course, you don't have him in the party anymore, but your Shahpura MLA did suggest that Mr. Meghwal, the cabinet minister, is corrupt. There was no investigation internally also, or an inquiry called out where the BJP is concerned, and you're talking about the same Rajasthan unit. But Avinash Kalla, to bring you in on this, for someone who's been covering Rajasthan, Mr. Kalla, is corruption even an issue at all? Will it be a poll agenda? You're less than a month going into election.
See, corruption is an issue for sure. There is no denying the fact. Paper leak is a big issue. It is something that the government has admitted. The people in the government or in the party have said so. But the way ED has been coming in now in political circles and elsewhere, many people are saying that's a part of the election strategy, it looks like. Every time they turn it up and they target people. So, and they haven't found anything substantial. The state government has done its own inquiries. Nothing much has been coming out. But the way ED is coming in, the way frequency has increased closer to the election is something that is questionable. Like in the paper leak case, this is their 7th visit. In the Department of IT case, they have come 4 times. In Jal Jeevan Mission, they have come 3 to 4 times. So they are coming in, they are probing. There is no denying the fact that they should not. There are corruption cases. But is this leading somewhere? That is a doubtful thing. They are not getting anything. And we cannot deny the fact that the paper leak cases and certain corruption allegations are going to be a big election issue. People understand the election, but people also question the motive with which central agencies have shown an urgency now to rush towards Rajasthan.
All right. I just want to bring in right now Yashovardhan Azad into the conversation. Yashovardhan Azad, the Congress very clear that, this is to crush political dissent. The opposition's rallying point that even approached the courts of the misuse of what they feel of central agencies. But in terms of sheer numbers, when you look at it, and we've quoted them in the early on in the show, where ED investigations are concerned, where CBI investigations are concerned, especially when we've seen the case rise with the opposition, leaders being targeted, there is then, at least for the opposition, to suggest that this is a witch hunt. Look at the numbers.
Okay, let me first clarify a few things. When you're talking about a conviction rate, it would be wrong to sort of lump in all the figures which the ED is investigating right from the beginning and say that there have been only 23 convictions. Now, the conviction rate can only be calculated from the number of cases the court has given judgment in which these are the convictions in these cases, and in these cases they have gone scot-free. That's one. But the other issue which is very important is that over the years, when the cases have been registered in so many numbers, then it is also important to see that how the investigations have been done. Which year, how many investigations are completed, how many were dropped, how many were challaned, how many cases in the charges were framed, and then how many cases are pending in court. So therefore, if the investigations are pending for a long time, it's a wrong thing, because you cannot, in a democracy, you cannot just make people, appearing again and again. For example, if 12 or 13-year-old case is continuing for such a long time, then again it has to be questioned. The second part which I want to stress upon is that you cannot say that the ED searches, raids are just manufactured out of the air. No, that's not true. There has to be some prima facie evidence. The question is to what extent the evidence is there on the basis of this, which wide searches and investigations are carried out. That's a very, very important matter. And where I will give a comment, which is true, is that yes, there seems to be more, it seems to be more exciting targeting the opposition, whereas the targeting against the ruling members is hardly to be seen. So in that respect, I would say yes. But Preeti, let me tell you one thing. The paper leaks are a scourge in the states. The number of youth, you asked a very important question, whether this thing is going to, corruption is going to impact Rajasthan or not. I'm surprised the number of youth who are being denied in Gujarat, in UP, in Haryana, in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, because of these paper leaks and the board exams. Even the PSC members are in jails. So this is something which needs to be looked into. Otherwise, it will remain only a political battle. But the political point is there. I would say in the end, they say that everything is fair in love and war. I think it's also fair in Indian politics that when the opposition is against you, institute cases. When the opposition comes into power, then that institutes cases against the new party. That's a sad thing. That's the reality.
Well, you're right. It is a sad thing. And Mr. Kalla, I want to bring you in because let's look at the politics over the last 6 months, even where Sachin Pilot, he went on a yatra all across Rajasthan, stating that one of his biggest demands was that the perpetrators behind the paper leak be brought to justice. He also insinuated during that yatra that those people were close to the chief minister themselves.
Yes, he did. And he did rake it up. And based on his demands, there was a state-level inquiry that was set up. People were questioned. So the government did that part. But beyond that, nothing has come through. And I would agree with what Mr. Azad said, that paper leak is one of the prime issues on which the elections are being fought here. And look at the cases, as you would rightly say, there are other cases also in the state in which the state government has been demanding that a probe from ED should happen. But nothing has moved because that involves people from the ruling party in the center. So that is a disparity that is there for everybody to see. If there is a small announcement or a case that happens, ED comes rushing in. One of the BJP leaders walks into a mall and alleges that there is black money stored in here, and you have ED officers walking in by the evening. Whereas the entire state government machinery goes out and says there is an allegation or there is a wrongdoing, and nothing seems to be moving in the ED or any other central agency side. So this does rake up a question about intentions, and it is for the people to see.
And Syed Zafar Islam, that prompts me to ask you that question. In terms of optics, in terms of perception, you have central agencies, once again, maybe doing their job, in all probability doing their job, but questions being raised in terms of vendetta by the opposition, where they suggest that this is a witch hunt because like Mr. Kalla pointed out, you have a BJP leader walk into a mall, raise the issue of corruption, and the ED seemingly walks into that mall. However, you have a BJP MLA from Shahpura who says that your sitting cabinet minister is corrupt. Mr. Meghwal, he gives out details, but even an internal inquiry is not set in. Forget about any central agency coming in.
See, when you say that in all probability they are doing their job, I mean it's a very unfair statement when you are making this kind of, you're casting aspersion on the conduct
None
of
at all, sir.
the agency.
I said they are doing their job, but the opposition will raise questions and call it a witch hunt.
You said in all probability.
Sir, I also said
they are
doing their
job.
Yeah.
Yes, and they are doing their job based on as Mr. Azad said, based on some prima facie evidence they have. The people will make allegation. In politics, people make such allegation without any evidence. If they have any evidence, they can always approach to the court and bring guilty to the court, and conviction can be achieved through the court. But those people just make the allegation because they have no evidence, they have nothing, they are just trying to mislead the people. In this particular case, paper leak, from same ruling party, forget about the name you mentioned, the former deputy CM, but away from him, there are many other MLAs within the Congress party, on the floor of the parliament, outside the they demanded that inquiry should be conducted, investigation should be conducted. But no one paid heed. When we put pressure on Mr. Gehlot as an opposition party in Rajasthan, then he initiated some inquiry, but only to cover up the misdeeds of his own people, and he was himself responsible for that. Okay. So let the investigation, all I am trying to tell you that let the investigation be over. We don't know what the agencies have, because they are independent agencies. They have some evidence. I will not make any comment till the investigation is over. I think these were demanded by their own people, and today when the inquiry, the investigation is being done by the agencies, they should be happy. They should be thrilled with joy. If they are not thrilled with joy, let me tell you, the youth and the parents of youth, they are happy, because these paper leaks make everyone very uncomfortable. 70 lakh youths are very comfortable and happy that this investigation is being conducted by the agencies, and guilty, those who are guilty, they will be certainly go behind the bar.
All right, but Syed Zafar Islam, as I bring in Aishwarya Mahadev back into the conversation, I'll ask you a question. 124 prominent politicians since 2014 have been questioned by the CBI in itself, which is an investigative agency. Out of them, 118, once again I'll repeat, out of 124, 118 come from the opposition. That would, possibly make it a 95%, up from what it was a 60% in UPA years of only opposition leaders being questioned. Do you think that's strange, or do you think it's because suddenly now we see a huge amount of opposition leaders who are corrupt and being investigated?
See, it is not relevant which political party you belong, whether you are part of opposition, whether you are part of the government. It is your conduct, what crime you have committed. And as I said, unless there is some evidence, they will not pursue agencies. If agencies are pursuing, then there has to be something with them. So if they have, forget about the 95%, 5%, if they have evidence against anyone, either they should approach the agencies or they should approach the court.
Fair enough. Aishwarya Mahadev, why run scared? If you're clean, you're going to come clean, go through the process of law, due diligence where the central agencies are concerned. Why run scared?
Preeti, let's completely forget all about numbers, but a bypass mechanism that exists is called the washing machine of the Bharatiya Janata Party, where BJP leaders themselves, two examples, right? BJP leaders themselves were talking about Himanta Biswa Sarma's huge corruption in Assam, but the minute he jumped into that washing machine and became cleaner than Ganga, there was absolutely no talk about it. Praful Patel, Ajit Pawar, you have seen the sort of massive press meets that the BJP's had about the alleged corruption. But the minute they help form a government, sir, I didn't interrupt you. This is what happens to them. But Preeti, just one response, right? It is so unique that when the ED and the CBI decide to raid anything, it is not their spokespersons that come out, but the BJP, not even the government, but the BJP that justifies these actions with so much conviction, right? So I will give you one example. In Rajasthan, when the paper leak scam happened, did the state have an investigation? Yes. Did the state even say, ED, please come look at it? Absolutely, that is happening. By the same metric, when your own, because you spoke about my own accusing my own again of a scam, in the same metric, when one of your BJP leaders talks about a minister's corruption, a BJP minister's corruption, the Sanjeevi cooperative scam, for example, why is it that either of the agencies which are so proactive in ensuring justice because they are blind to political parties, why have they not gone there? Gujarat had a paper leak recently, Madhya Pradesh had a paper leak recently, the Patwari scam, if you remember. So why haven't these authorities gone there? At no point. The fact of the matter is the agency's credibilities are left in shambles because it's not due diligence. This is vendetta politics to supplement for the fact that the BJP is losing. So it is the Bharatiya Janata Party, the government mechanism, plus all the agencies to coerce leaders of the opposition.
But we'll only know if the people buy it and how they look at it when that last vote is counted, Aishwarya Mahadev. But I want to bring in Yashovardhan Azad back into this conversation. Sir, our team has quickly done the math on what you asked of where the conviction rate is concerned. So we spoke of 23 people who've been convicted ever since the law came into effect, which was 2002, the PMLA. Now, in that, the ED has filed, since 2002, 5,400 cases. Out of that, 23 convictions were there, and the conviction rate has come down to 0.42%, sir, which is less than 0.5%.
No, this is the conviction rate out of the total number of cases instituted by the IAS. That would not be fair. You see, what would be fair is that the number of cases presented in the court and the court giving a decision. So that means if court gives a decision, say 100 cases, and 60 of them are convictions, 40 of them are not, then the 60% is the conviction rate.
All right. Okay, Aishwarya Mahadev is shaking her head. Why, Aishwarya?
Sir, I am a practicing lawyer, and it is not only the courts, it is also the adjudicating authority, it is the PMLA Appellate Tribunal, it is the special court as instituted under the law. So it is basically your conviction at the end of the day. From the summons procedure to even instituting basically any sort of proceed before the adjudicating authority, you have had thousands of cases of harassment. You have seen the courts also quash a lot of this, saying these are infructuous matters. So the rate of conviction is still abysmally low for the number of cases or the processes they adjudicate. So because even if you look at the ECIR numbers in any of the zones of the
Mr. Azad wants to come in, and then I'll cut across back to Mr. Islam. Mr. Azad, quickly.
मुझे बोलने तो दीजिए आप, प्लीज. आई हर्ड यू. देखिए, कन्विक्शन रेट तो एक स्टैटिस्टिकल ऑब्जर्वेशन है जो कि पुलिस रिपोर्ट से मिलती है हमें. यानी यू आर इंस्टीट्यूटिंग 5,000 केसेस. डू यू नो दैट वेदर दीज इवन 5,000 केसेस विल बी पुट अप इन कोर्ट? हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम आर गिवन? द प्रोसिक्यूशन डज नॉट गिव अप फॉर सैंक्शन. So how can that be the conviction rate? The conviction rate given in the judgment is by the number of cases in which the judge gives judgment.
Okay.
Listen, it's all right. You can give your arguments in the legal way, but this is how we look at it. That is how the case credibility goes. But that is the credibility of the investigation, that there are 5,000 cases filed, but only 100 go to the court.
All right, okay, Aishwarya Mahadev wants to come in for a rebuttal, but 20 seconds and I'm going back to Mr. Syed Zafar Islam. Go ahead, Aishwarya, quickly.
That's unfair.
Don't you think that is the problem? With the conviction rate being abysmally low, but the number of cases, for the 31 cases in 9 years that you've seen concluded with the ED, you see, I can give you 50 to 60 instances of my leaders being summoned across the board, which shows you the sort of manner in which these institutions are used as systemic machines of harassment.
Okay, I want to bring in Syed Zafar Islam once again into this conversation before he says I don't give him time. But Mr. Islam, I'm getting you back. I'm getting you back into this conversation. The fact is, 1 month away, technically, from elections. Raids in Chhattisgarh, raids in Rajasthan. Should Mr. Kamal Nath be worried?
I mean, I don't know whether he is worried or not worried, and it is really not fair on my part to link the two, because agencies are pursuing their work. They are investigating. It is their job. They are simply discharging their responsibilities. But as far as Chhattisgarh is concerned, as far as Rajasthan is concerned, as far as Madhya Pradesh is concerned, in Madhya Pradesh, of course, Kamal Nath is a worried man. because there's a lot of resistance within the party,
Okay.
lot of people protesting within the party, and of course, we are doing exceedingly well, and every survey now shows that we are ahead of them, far ahead of them, and as we go closer to the election, we will win hands-on in
But we'll
all the
only know,
states,
sir, when that
including,
last vote is counted.
Rajasthan.
We'll
So
only-
we are not. Yeah. So we have a mechanism to understand the ground reality. We get feedbacks from our Karyakartas. We get feedback
Okay.
from our Panna Pramukh, and we are very confident of our victory in all these 3 states.
Well, I'm sure, sir, because I'm sure the Congress would say the same. Aishwarya Mahadev, 20 seconds. I want to go to Mr. Kalla next.
Preeti, you know that they are so sure of themselves in Madhya Pradesh that while they were sitting and dissing on the Congress guarantees in Karnataka, you've seen Mama Mr. Chauhan go announcing a guarantee every third hour because they are running so scared. The Congress is a united house. Our recent yatra across the state has yielded wonderful results. People are sick and tired, and you're going to see change.
Aishwarya Mahadev, when did the Griha Lakshmi Yojana come in Rajasthan? By your Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. By that
They're
yardstick,
announcing
the
now,
same
but
can
no, the
apply
women-
with what Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan did in Madhya Pradesh. Your Chief Minister did in Rajasthan, not just the Griha Lakshmi
No.
Yojana, but also the cylinder for 500 rupees. Less than 6 months
No,
before
in
election,
Rajasthan-
Aishwarya Mahadev.
No, Preeti, the women's stipend is something that was brought in Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan from the minute they came in. Was the amount advanced? Yes, that was something that was done.
How many months? How many months before elections, Aishwarya Mahadev?
Power of the guarantees across and the people and the social capital and the mobilization that it has seen.
Okay. I love the way nobody really answers the question that I asked, but we'll talk about everything else. But having said that, Mr. Kalla, I want to bring you in for a quick word, and then we'll just wrap up this bulletin, this debate here. What does it look like, Mr. Kalla? Corruption issues, especially the paper leaks, yes, it's an issue. We saw that resonate in Gujarat, but when it came down to actually casting, your vote, it really didn't reflect in Gujarat. Does it have that kind of traction in Rajasthan?
See, no denying the fact that the paper leak case has not got any traction. It is a huge issue. People are bothered. Now, which way will they vote? It depends. We sitting here cannot say. But go anywhere in Rajasthan, talk to any youngster in a village. They are concerned about the paper leaks. Year on year, the exams get discontinued, and it's heartbreaking. It is really heartbreaking. I've met many youngsters who say we do this. But I'd like to make a small comment. It's an observation on the way ED has been coming in. It hasn't been able to come out with any substantive evidence to say that something has gone wrong. So neither has it yielded any big corruption or money or something, nor has it yielded any political gains for the BJP. Mm-hmm. None of the congressmen has crossed over the line like it happens in other states. So ED hasn't been able to deliver those results as well. And interestingly, for the Congress party, what it has done, it has acted like a glue. Today, you saw for the first time all Congress people rallying around.
The first time Sachin Pilot held a press conference.
First time all of them came together.
Yes. True, Sachin Pilot speaking for Ashok Gehlot, that's a rarity. But Yashovardhan
So that's what I'm saying. It hasn't given the same political results that the ruling party in the center might have thought. And miraculously, it has done what the Congress High Command couldn't do.
I think,
is to get the party
Mr.
together.
Kalla, I think, one should hold on to before we talk about any miracles in Rajasthan. You don't know how it really pans out. We'll only know.
But all these people talking about each other is nothing less than a miracle.
Well, that's true. Sachin Pilot coming in to defend Ashok Gehlot, well, we didn't know that we'd see that happening. But, Mr. Azad, go ahead, sir. Quick word.
Yes, I just want to add one line. That the most corrupt in India always win very well, and corruption is never an issue. So I don't think paper leaks are an issue, whether in Gujarat, whether in Bihar, whether in Haryana or anywhere. It's extremely
But Gujarat
unfortunate.
they weren't. You're right, sir. Gujarat they weren't. We talked about it a lot, but really when it came down to casting the vote, it didn't really matter. Syed Zafar Islam, do you want the last word? And sir, I will ask you, you're happy with the time you got on the show today?
No complaints.
I'm glad, sir. Thank you for saying it on air. Last word to you, sir. Last word to you. Last word to you.
To everyone.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Well,
go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Well, all I can say that instead of making allegation against the agencies, allow them to work independently as they are working. Have faith in them, have faith in the agencies. It is in their time, Supreme Court had made an observation about CBI as a cage parrot. None of those observations have ever been made by the CBI or by the Supreme Court. But all I can request that allow them to work. We do not interfere. Unlike them, they used to interfere, and that's why they feel that we are interfering in their work. We do not interfere. They are independent. They will pursue their case independently.
Right.
Whether the conviction rate is X or Y, it belongs to them. They have to justify every single case they pursue.
Right. All right. I appreciate all of you for joining us. Thank you there. It's a conversation which is going to carry forward in days to come. Well, political vendetta, due diligence, we leave it for our viewers to decide. With that.